Right, so I am very delighted to be announcing the next speaker this morning. Just to say well done for making it in the room. I know the outdoors is a really tough thing to be competing against for Don. It is the best weather we've ever had on a bank holiday ever, as far as I can remember. So well done for being in this windowless room where you can't actually see any sunshine, but you've made the right choice because I'm pretty sure the next hour and a half is going to be one of the most entertaining hour and a halves that you've experienced. No pressure, Don, but I know I've seen you.
With the live stream, there was no pressure.
There's live stream. You've got your friends in the audience. It's going to be a great hour and a half. I absolutely know that, and I've spoken a few times already, so I know that is the case. Never has it been more appropriate when I've ever introduce somebody at a conference or done something like this to remind you to turn off your mobile phones, and you'll see why when Don talks about the things he's going to talk about. So please, you do not want to be the person in this room where your mobile phone goes off. Trust me on that. So please just remember to do that, and Don will explain why in a few moments. You don't need to hear any more from me other than the fact that I'm going to give Don a very quick introduction, just so you know who he is, and I'm going to hand over. So, Don received the 2015 American Psychological Association Early Career Achievement Award, and in 2012 he won an International Best of Show prize here in London for his addiction recovery research work. He's been a keynote speaker and presenter at many conferences, and you've listed some here. I can't even go through them, and I know there's hundreds more that you've spoken at as well. And you are the founder and CEO of the Unboot Camp, and executive director of Resolution's Teen Center in Los Angeles. I'd like to ask you all to give a very warm welcome to Dr. Don Grant.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David. If that didn't make any sense to you, you're in the wrong presentation, and there's one across the hall that I'm sure you'll really enjoy. But if it did, thank you for coming. All right. So, a few things I want to share with you. I am not trying to throw technology under the bus at all, or under the digital bus, or the virtual reality bus, or the soldiers all flying out of the bus on Fortnite. I am not trying to do that. Technology is incredible, and it helps our lives. And it really enhances our lives in a lot of ways. That is not what I'm trying to do, is say, oh, just unplug completely. And it's also kind of ridiculous. It's not going to be possible. What I am interested in is trying to help people have a better relationship with their technology, not be so tethered to it, and learn to use it as the tool that it was meant to be. Not that it uses us and we find ourselves getting engaged in it and we feel like we're in a casino and 4 hours have gone by and we don't remember what happened. So just so we're clear, I am not against technology. I'm all for it. But there's a few things. So in full disclosure, what I want you guys to know are the following, because I think it's important. Facebook founding president Sean Parker admitted that they knew from the beginning they were creating something addictive, and they were exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. Their objective was, quote, how do we consume as much time and conscious attention as possible? Bill Gates believed the minimum age for a child to have a smartphone is 14. Chris Marcelino, one of the inventors of Apple's system for push notifications, quit the industry to train as a neurosurgeon. Laurie O'Britcher, who created the push to refresh button, also left Silicon Valley and is in New Jersey building a house and not speaking to anybody. Justin Rosenstein, the inventor of the like feature on Facebook, and his colleague Leah Pearlman have disengaged the feature on their own Facebook pages. Chamath Palihapitiya, former Facebook vice president for Youth Growth, doesn't use Facebook and does not allow her children to use it. She also blew up the company last year. You can look this up. Tim Cook, who's Apple's chief executive, says, I don't have a kid, I have a nephew, and I don't want him on social media. His predecessor, Steve Jobs, did not allow his children to have iPads, which his company invented. Mark Zuckerberg also banned them from his home and has a team of 12 moderators dedicated to curating his own profile and postings and deleting comments and spam from his own Facebook page. Ned Siegel, the CFO of Twitter, has sent less than 2 tweets a month for the past 6 years. The California State Teachers Retirement System and JANA Partners, these two funds own about $2 billion in Apple stock, sent an open letter to Apple in January 2018 calling for, quote, a stronger stance on the mental health effects of excessive devices by children and teenagers. Apple responded almost immediately with some ideas. Silicon Valley, up there in California where a lot of this stuff is invented, pioneered the idea of a literal digital Sabbath. They insist that their employees log off on the weekend. Facebook has now admitted that more than 1 million UK users could have had their data improperly harvested by Cambridge Analytica. And you can also check, if any of you are wondering, you should have gotten a notification if you belong on Facebook. It will tell you, you can check and see if your data was compromised. In the United States, we had the similar problem. Mine was, so were my children's. Okay, so that's some things you need to know. So the people who invented these things and the people who are behind and responsible for driving the force of this are now saying, you know, yeah, we don't use it. We don't want it. We don't want our kids using it. All right, so 3 things you need to know because you came all the way, so I want to give you a couple of little gifts. So don't tell anyone because these are 3 things that nobody else will know, so you'll be super experts on this. All right, so this is your gift. This is what you get. You walk with the swag. It's called device management now. It is not called technology addiction. Technology addiction is so 2000 in MySpace. Anyone who calls it technology addiction, just know it is not called. So if you see someone and they say, oh, you know, this technology addiction thing, you can go, yeah, no. It's called device management. And there's a reason for that because they felt the people who kind of decided what this was going to be, it was not me, thought that technology addiction really turned off a lot of people. And they said, I'm not addicted to it, but they found that everyone can align with the idea of device management. So device management. Okay, according to Steve Wilhite, who invented it, it is called a GIF, not a GIF. So if you hear anyone calling it a GIF, people are going to be like, no, they just don't know. It's a GIF, like the peanut butter. And a GIF is not a meme. So these are 3 things, you know, you didn't know, now you know, you can walk out here. If you get nothing else, that's my swag to you. The internet and the devices and the platforms, they really do bring a lot of good to the world. Again, that's not the problem. But I want to talk about balance, I want to talk about safety, and I want to talk about helping you understand it. So if you understand how it works and the psychology behind it, then maybe you'll be able to also walk out of here with a little better sense and sensibility of how to manage your own. All right, a couple other things. If it's not posted on social media, you all know it did not happen, right? So make sure when you walk out of here that you take a picture and you post it because otherwise you weren't here. And then make sure you take about 100 of them so that you make sure you get the right one and make sure that anyone who's in that photo that you run it by them to approve it because it's super awkward when you post something and the person calls you and says, I cannot believe you posted that picture of me with my arms. You need to take that down immediately. So make sure that you run it by the people and get their approval. I do not want to live in a world of selfies. I want to live in a world of us-ease. And it's okay to post a picture that you were somewhere. But I'm just concerned about the digital scrapbooks that we're creating. Because you see, when I was growing up, we had photo albums of places we went. And we looked at them. And even if we didn't look at them, we knew they were on the shelf. And I really like looking back. I've got some of my relatives' photo albums. And I look back at them, and it really makes me feel connected. And I'm just worried that our photo albums are in our phones. Or they're posted somewhere forever, by the way. Even if you take it down, you all know that it is absolutely archived forever. Someone will be able to find it. So I'm worried that we have all these pictures in our phones, but we never really put them out. We don't frame them. We don't put them in scrapbooks. So why am I doing this? I don't know. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I'm too old for this. I'm what's called a digital immigrant. So a digital immigrant is someone who did not grow up with computers. So they came into play somewhere when I was in high school, and it was really kind of archaic, and it was a black screen with these little orange things, and it was called VS Basic, and we had to build a hangman, and it took like a semester, and our hangman was upside down, and we failed the class. But I didn't grow up with it. So anyone who grew up without computers, that wasn't your natural state from the moment you were born, we are digital immigrants. Millennials. So anyone born kind of after 1985, 86 kind of, but really in the 90s. They're called digital natives. And digital natives are the generations who never knew a life without computers, who never walked in and knew what a library was. A library was online. These are the digital natives. So why I'm doing this is because I feel like it's really important. Because the truth is, guys, the last 2.5 generations of digital immigrants, meaning the last 2.5 generations of people who ever knew what it's like to look at someone and read their eye contact, to have an experience face to face, who understand how to cultivate a relationship, who know what dating is, and it ain't this, who knew how to do conflict resolution, but who understood the value of looking at the sky, not taking a picture of it. The last 2.5 generations are now walking this planet. And you don't miss what you don't know. So I am very concerned and have been very concerned because I am a digital immigrant, but I'm also the father of 2 of the very first digital natives. So I grew up with them and saw and got very concerned a long time ago about some of the things I predicted were happening, and that you're in this room. Thank you. It appears I might have not been wrong. Thank you very much. Because I was concerned about it, and I'm worried that we are the teachers and the guides and the uncles and the aunts and the mentors of these new digital natives. And if we don't share with them how important it is of face-to-face, and if we don't share with them how important it is to really understand what it's like to look at Colleen and say, hi, how you doing, and see her smile, and then we're looking and she's waving, if we don't teach them that, they will not know it. Ready Player One is coming. And once augmented reality and virtual reality come in, and when you see the state of the world, and people are all complaining they're disenfranchised and disengaged, and we've never had the opportunity to be more connected, I am very concerned because immersive reality, virtual reality, once it comes, I'm very afraid that game over. So, it was a mistake. I'm owning it because state of the art in the morning is obsolete by noon. The amount of work I have to do is just to keep up with the language and what's the latest. It's exhausting, but I have to do it. And I feel we all have to do it. The digital immigrants, I feel we are charged to teach the digital natives and bridge that chasm. So, 18% of children 12 to 15 have learned how to disable the internet filters that their parents put on it. I love when parents say, well, I got the solution. I'm just going to turn off the Wi-Fi. Guess who that punishes? The kids know how to get on it, and the parents are sitting there, and they have no internet, and they think they're so smart sitting downstairs, and the kids are upstairs, and they've gotten onto the Wi-Fi through Snapchat. Over 50% of parents of 8 to 15-year-olds admit they know less about the internet than their kids. No kidding. I'm worried about the death of narrative. I'm worried about the death of imagination. I'm worried about a lot of things. I'm a geek. I don't care. Sue me, punish me, hit me up and try to friend me on Facebook and tell me that you disagree with me, that I am a super romantic, and I hate that we've lost the idea of a handwritten love letter. Because I write them. And so now they text them? No, they text breaking up. Now that's really classy. I'm sorry, this ain't working for me, babe. It's over. Yeah, that's great. That's what I want to get, just ambushed by a breakup text. All right, so I was presenting at the APA conference in Washington, D.C. last August, and we were very nice, and they asked me to present. And during the Q&A, this guy says to me, Dr. Grant, how did this happen so fast? It's so quick. This is ridiculous. And I said, look, this is just my hypothesis. I'm not saying I've proven this, but my feeling about this is how this happened so fast is that we gave, ostensibly, the most powerful tool man has ever invented. Sorry, wheel, you had a super good roll, but I think you have now moved to the silver platform. But it was you did really well for Millennial wheel. It was great because I believe that the most powerful tool to date that has ever been invented by man, or ostensibly the most powerful tool, is the internet. And we gave, in my opinion, ostensibly the most powerful tool to children to create, to develop, to play with, to explore, to wield. Because we, as digital immigrants, did not understand it, couldn't be bothered. Even those of us who tried to get our kids to explain it, it was beyond our ken because we didn't grow up. We gave it to kids. And we are wondering now how it has become the digital Lord of the Flies. And there will always be a Piggy and there will always be a Ralph. You would not hand children a set of power tools and say, how about it, kids? Good luck. We're going to be in the other room, and expect there not to be blood. So I think it's really important that as mentors, parents, uncles, aunts, teachers, that we help guide the kids and try to teach them how to negotiate and navigate this. Is it going to work? I don't know. But let's see how we're going to try. All right. So I was very fortunate, and when I was in Washington, APA asked me to write a book. And I found out later that it was because someone who's very close to me, who supports what I do, showed them this slide. And they said, no one's ever talked about that. So this is really the thesis of social media for me. Do you contemplate the affect or effect of your post before you're posting them? Do you edit them? I really love when I see posts, especially from one of my kids' teachers that's totally misspelled. That instills a lot of confidence. So really, double check your work. What is your real motive? This is it. What is your real motive? And we all have our own motives for why we post something. And whatever it is your thing. Some of it is not really authentic. Sometimes people like things because someone else liked their stuff and they feel a reciprocal need to like. Sometimes you don't like things because I just don't like that person. Sometimes you post things of your own to try to, there's all kinds of reasons, but really. And so my co-author and I of this book, it's really about also practicing good digital citizenship. What are you doing when you post? And now the most dreaded words ever spoken in the history of mankind, and it was already, David already asked you to, but please, oh my gosh. So now I am presented with the first ethical question that these devices cause in some place like this. Okay, I don't know. I don't really think that there's going to be some kind of catastrophe, please, or that the zombie apocalypse is going to happen in the hour and a half that you're here. If it is the zombie apocalypse, I have watched The Walking Dead, so I have learned straight to the head. Just go for the head, man. Just take grab a water bottle. I learned this. So if it is a zombie apocalypse, do not try right through the head. But barring that, I think it's going to be okay. But we can't turn it off. And I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because we're all friends. But I normally, and sometimes if I haven't really felt love coming from the audience, then I will say, please show me a set of hands. How many people turned off their phone and how many people now have it set to vibrate just in case? I know I'm supposed to turn it off. I don't. All right, so just because I was trained by this really, really, really strict mentor in my doctoral program who's always like, you have to define terms, you have to always reference. She's awesome. So this is for Karen Shackelford. Technology addiction. It's not really a thing. It's not technology addiction, but it's not in any DSM or anything they have in the UK. So it's not included in the DSM as a diagnosable condition, but internet gaming disorder is. I got super lucky. I was invited several years ago to be part of a think tank out in New York, Children and Screens, and these people are super, super smart. I think the only reason they let me be on it is because they're really smart, but they don't really get the addiction piece. And they're always saying, so Don, why did he thought this, so I got to be a part of this. We actually decided that we were going to write the response to the DSM, because why not? I said, okay, let's do it. Sounds good. And we actually got published last November 1st. They published our response to internet gaming disorder and what we thought it was about. And we got really lucky because 3 weeks later, the World Health Organization announced that they are classifying internet gaming disorder as a worldwide disease. And my team and I were like, we knew that like 3 weeks ago. You're so late. Like, really? World Health Organization crushing it. We already knew. No, we got really lucky. So, but it is, World Health Organization says it is. America is still considering it because we're a little backwards in this. I'm just going to say, hi, America being live streamed. Yeah. Let me back in the country, please. All right, here's just some facts. And these are for the UK because I am legit and I was trained by their really strict mentor. So I changed it. What I will tell you is that you guys in the UK, very similar to the United States. Very similar to around the world in a lot of countries. So, but these are the stats specifically to you guys, because I don't want to walk in here and just have the American stats and you'd be like, really? So, you guys spend 8 hours and 41 minutes a day. Children, 6.5. Most is spent multitasking, which have been proven in many studies that multitasking does not work. There is a switch called switch cost. There's a switch cost when you multitask, which means that your work will not be as good. And it's been proven over and over. You can look this up. Silver swipers. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, they're just sitting back there. They are the fastest growing, 55 to 75. They are like not even digital immigrants. They're like digital pre-immigrants. They're still applying for a green card to be an immigrant, but they are the fastest ones in the UK. Average UK user checks their smartphone 150 times a day. 1/3 admit they regularly use it with friends. This is what I'm going to talk to you about. With friends, watching TV, eating, working, or with their romantic partner. 25% of UK adults admit sending text and messages to friends or family while in the same room. Hashtag super lazy, I'm just saying. Hey, do you want to watch this program, honey? Yeah, no, I was thinking Walking Dead should be streamed right now because I got to figure out how to kill a zombie and I'm not quite... Was it to the head or to the chest? No, you know it's right straight to the head. Now, we know the kids do it. We know they sit there and they're texting each other in the same room, probably talking about us. But we do it too. 66% of UK adults say they hate how much time they want to spend on their phone. But 27% of kids say their parents have double standards about technology. So this gentleman sitting in the front, his name is Dr. Reza Nabavi. He's my hero. He is another mentor of mine, and he also was gracious enough to allow me to create with him a teen program in LA. And the teen program that we have is called Resolutions Teen Center and Resolutions Therapeutic Services, which if you don't know, you should know. We have 4 different tracks. So there's mental health, substance abuse, there's dual, which is, everyone knows, we just say it's, we know it's really mental health. And then there's the device management track that he let me bring in. So what we did is we also have a free parents group. Because what I find is that the kids were complaining to me that their parents did have double standards in the States. And they want the kids off the phones and the games, but the parents are playing them. So we created, and we have where the parents can come in, and I show the parents about their device management. So that's also why it's important you guys are here, because we are culpable. We are guilty. We all think it's the kids. But it's really, you look at your own behavior as well. 1/3 in UK adults check their messages in the middle of the night and admit their overuse is causing rows with their partners in the middle of the night. So we're complaining our kids are up all night, but we're also checking. At least 1/3. 10% of UK smartphone owners admit reaching for their phone as soon as they wake, 1/3 in 5 minutes, and 75% say it's the last thing before they go to sleep. There's your facts, there's your basis. Did you also know UK social media users, there's 39 million of you in the UK. The estimate is 42 million are going to happen this year. 25% visit them more than 10 times a day. And watch out for those silver swipers. They're going to be just coming all in on the social media. 26% of UK users admit to being constantly on the internet. 21% in 2015. Anyone in here who is a geek like me and can do regression predictions? Just do the prediction, if it keeps growing. 34% of people have checked Facebook in the past 10 minutes. I'm not going to ask. Patty. Scientists have found a link between heavy Facebook users and depressive symptoms. Just saying. Including low self-esteem. 50% of people prefer to communicate digitally. 50% of people, that's not just the digital immigrants. 50% of people texting, emailing, rather than talking. I have conversations with my friends. I'm like, you wonder why you have time management issues. You're in email threads, back and forth, back and forth. Not pick up the phone. You'll get the answer. Or you just get to leave a voicemail and not have to talk to them, but you can give the information. Third of people would rather clean their toilets than their inbox. We are hoarding emails. Oh my God, I can't get rid of it. What if I need it in 7 years, that email? Just saying. I don't know. I love when I look at people's phones and it says 72,512 emails. Okay, I don't know. At that point, I would say just get rid of it, delete it, start again. All right. Research by Nottingham Trent University found that 1/3 of the smartphone notifications, and I'll talk about that later. This is one of the tricks and strategies I'll give you. The notifications worsen our mood. That's from research here. Again, if you came to the States and saw me do this, I'd be doing it with universities there. It's no different. Oh yeah, 33% of people admit to hiding from friends and family to check social media. I don't know anyone who knows addiction in here. What does that sound like? What? Teens who use electronic devices for 3 hours a day or longer are 35% more prone to suicidal ideation. Now, here's another concern for any of you guys who work with kids like Reza and I do. We were seeing a decrease in teen depression. Ari knows this. Teenage depression, anxiety, and self-harm were decreasing for 2 decades. And then starting in 2011, we started to see this really disturbing spike that continued to rise. Again, hypothesis, I don't know, 2011, we started seeing an increase that we hadn't seen in teen depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidal ideation. When did Snapchat and Instagram? Oh, that was 2010. I don't know that it's the variable, but I think it's a contributing variable. I'll talk to you about it later. 1 in 10. Here's what we're going to move into. Only 1 in 10 UK toddlers of the so-called iPad generation are labeled as healthy by pediatricians. Did I get pediatricians? Pediatricians. That spelling is correct for my American friends. I checked it. Wow, that's disturbing. Research at the 2017 Pediatric Academic Societies meeting claimed that for every additional 30 minutes of handheld screen time, anyone, again, who knows statistics, 49% increase of expressive speech delay. That is what we would say is P significant by a lot. This is super significant, 49%. Because even if it's off, and even if there's a standard deviation on it, say that it's 23. Read that last line. What is that saying for the future? Well, I don't know. How did that happen? Oh, I don't know. These are all true. This is my cousin and her child. She allows me to post that picture. I was sitting right there. That was the first time my cousin Oliver got a phone. We were at a wedding, and Kim said, oh, I want to talk. I said, don't do it. I said, you're sitting right across from me, Kim. How can you do this? She said, she handed him the phone, and she's not been able to get him off it since. These are all, I got to get that for all my friends. That's great. This one is amazing. You can get that at Toys R Us. Oh, no, wait, you can't. Too soon? I'll bet Amazon has it. This is all real. Look at this. How are you going to get him off of that? That's their first photo of him. Look at baby on his iPad. Let's put it in our phone so he'll never see it because we'll never make a baby book. Okay. Again, I have to, my apologies, Resin. I'm sorry for those of you who've seen the show before. I have to always put this. Don't read that. It's stuff that you can read later. These, I spent an entire night finding, because I don't like bullet points, and so I found coffins that had brains in them, and it took me like all night, so I refused to divest this slide because I tweaked on this all night long with these, and I'm just really super proud of it. So that's it. I just want a little props out for the finding the brains in coffins. Thank you very much. Next slide. He said it. I didn't say it. He said it. Now, any mathematicians in here? Anyone good with math? No one. Good, you're in the right place. Okay. So, I don't know, if it's 8 seconds, 1 second less than the attention of a goldfish, a 4-second drop in 13 years doing the math, Oh my gosh, in like 26, we're going to go negative attention span. What does that look like? And we wonder why. See, we used to have like 3 things. You guys had the BBC here. Oh, sorry, some problems there. They're getting the children's programming back. I'll show you that later. Wow, it used to be like we had 3 channels. Like they turned off at like 11 o'clock and we didn't have all. This is just, wow. I always feel like I don't know anything because there's all this stuff that comes about the Kardashians and about the stuff going on here in the royal wedding. And I'm like, I don't know. And who is this? And I feel really dumb that I don't know all this useless information, but there's all these ways to find it. And then I fell down this weird vortex where I'm like looking for one thing, and then I find something else. And I just started looking because I was thinking, what did Istanbul, the conference in Istanbul that you guys just had, and what did that used to be called? What was the name of that? It was called Istanbul, and I can't remember, so I go on the internet and I'm looking, and it says, oh my, Istanbul, you see Constantinople. And then I see the video from maybe Giants, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta watch that. And I'm like, oh my God, like Bette Midler did one too. Bette Midler was in Hello Dolly with my friend. I wonder what my friend's up to. And then I'm going to go on Facebook. Oh my God, my friend Nick, who was in Hello Dolly with Bette Midler, used to sing. And what is he? He got married. Oh my God, I got to send him a gift. So then I got to go, where's his registry? And I got to look for the gift. And oh my God, look at these shoes. How did I know I wanted these shoes? I was looking at these shoes last week. They're too expensive. I need a Groupon. Let me go get a Groupon because I got these. But wait a second, I got to get this. 17 hours later, I have done nothing except check that the picture I posted 17 hours ago, how many likes has it gotten? Because I'm always got that going. I got to make sure I'm validated. And then I don't do anything. And then I'm driving to work the next day and I'm like, what did Istanbul used to be called? I can't remember that. What is that? If you're laughing, you've done it. Did we ever get the shoes? And they knew. So here's why. Because see, I didn't want to give everything away because I got to keep you in the room, right? So the thing I was talking about of how they did it, that flaw, is the same as they use for gamblers when you pull a slot machine. It's called variable rewards. So what it means is when you swipe down, which is about as close as they could get to this, you never know what's going to come up. And we keep doing it and refreshing because it does this thing where you're going to get a prize or you're going to get a zonk or you don't know. So you get hooked and you can't help it. So these are the things, and Rez and I were just doing, it's so funny, ellipses. So you're in a text thread and you're texting and it's all good and you think she kind of likes you and you're just kind of playing it and it's good. And then you write something and then you text it and you think you're done and you're like ready to put it away and then you see the ... And you're like, oh my God, she's going to say something else. She's going to say, what is she going to say? What did she not like what I said before? What is she saying? ... Everything stops. And if the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm gone. I'm a zombie because I'm not moving because there's those 3 dots and she's writing something else and I don't know what it's going to be. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? I can't wait. And then the dots go away. What were you going to say? What were you going to say? Where are the dots? I waited for you. Oh my gosh, I just missed the bus. Well, what are those ellipses? And if you're going to do it, finish it and send it. Because I'm like, what? And it keeps you in it. Social validation. Get a little dopamine, hit like. Also, for those of you scientific smarty pants, anyone knows about GABA? Heather, yeah, so glutamate, yeah, that ratio. It's working your brain. It's giving you that little dopamine. Hit, yeah. And we like it, and we want it, and we crave it. And then the autoplay videos. I am just going to watch one episode of Peaky Blinders. 7 days later, I've watched the whole series. And Black Mirror, and Orange is the New Black, and the entire BBC, all versions of Mr. Selfridge, where the first season we just should have stopped when the wife died. Oops, sorry. And we just watch video after video after video after video after video. Oh my God, the morning light comes. What does that feel like? Oh, I don't know, maybe like the late 80s for me, and I'm not saying why. Damn it, those birds, I still hate them. That world, that early morning world, news that comes from here, I'm like, oh, I did it again. So I don't know what that feels like to you guys when you watched all the videos. Why am I so tired? I don't know. Because I was up all night gaming and social mediating and watching all these channels and Reddit. Or doing something else. I don't know, I'm not going to say. And then there's this. I go for something, and it looks different, but it's that spinning wheel, it's working, like, work, and then I get really pissed off, and I'll show it, because I am the boss of you, computer. I'm just going to turn you off. And I turn it off. I'm like, yeah, that showed you spinning wheel, working, setting. And then I wait, and maybe I just go, and then I check my phone, because I got to check some things on there. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the computer, and I hit the computer, and I hit the button up, and what do I see? Winning, spiel, winning, spinning. It didn't move. I'm like, ah! And then there's this. I don't know, I'm just walking along, and suddenly, someone texted me. And I'm like, no, they didn't. That was weird. I felt a vibration in my butt. What was that? I just felt it again. Or my friend will be like, oh my God, she'll reach in her purse. Like, my purse is vibrating. Someone must have called me, and I get a little dopamine hit because my purse is, and there's no one there. Wait a second. Was that a spasm? And this is a real thing. It's true. It's called phantom. And he's laughing because he's feeling it right now. You're welcome. It is not some weird spasm. You do not have to go see a doctor. It's the phone. It's a weird thing. Phantom vibration syndrome is real. And you just feel something ringing where it's not. Judith's laughing. She's like, my purse is ringing right now, and I'm dying to check it, but I can't get him in the front row. Why did I sit in the front row? That'll teach you. Sit in the back. Okay, so what do we do about it? Not this. This is true. A little extreme. I'm just saying. He's like, I can't even anymore. I'm just done. Okay, so we swipe them. This is for the UK. Everything. Sorry, hi America, streaming at 3:30 in the morning. If you're up in America, by the way, and you're watching this, go to bed. You're proving my theory. Download it later, it'll be somewhere. We swipe them, we use them in the bathroom. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands of how many people take the phone in the bathroom. It's just like a newspaper. My dad used to do that all the time. Okay. Don't drop it in the potty. And if you do rice, put it in rice. This is some of the disrupted, non-restorative sleep. Anyone who's in this room knows. We know when we work with addiction, some of the things. So the non-restorative sleep, the attention span, isolation, anxiety, depression, stress. Now, if I didn't tell you I was talking about phones, everyone here would be like, you're talking about meth. Like such a meth head. Or anything that has to do with any kind of addiction. Now, Throwback Thursday, I did admissions for a treatment center for 72,000 years. I had every one of these phones except this one, which is the first one I ever bought my mom. So all of these, and I always use this slide because it's so funny, I get to revisit. And I remember when the Crackberry, they called it a Crackberry. That was before. This did not have apps. Little did they know that. And the Razor phone's still my favorite. It was super sexy. I love that little Razor. I love flipping out hey girl, I got a Razor. Yeah, flip it over. She's like, wow, that's the coolest phone ever. Yeah, it's a Razor. I got a Razor phone. It's red. We're now at Apple 10. So 58% don't go an hour without checking it. Okay, so here's for the codependents in the room. So Chungking solved the problem. They got just super tired of people running into each other. So they just created the cell phone lane. Yay! Go Chungking! That's how to solve it. Codepend the problem. And then I'm looking, going, get out of the way! Incoming! That little girl's like, this one, there's about to be a collision. This guy just opted out completely. He's like, I'm not getting in any lane. I don't understand what that thing is. And yeah, that little girl's in trouble. Uh-oh. Could happen. Okay, so University of the United States is super smart. They got it because they got tired of all the kids getting out of class and going on their phones and tumbling down the stairs. They just created the walk, run, and text lane. That's not dangerous. I just, by the way, love, like taking it out, like sidebar, there's a walk and a text. They're encouraging you to run up the stairs. Hey guys, here's some scissors. Why don't you run up the stairs? What is the run lane on a staircase? So that already tells you that whoever came up with this and probably got tenure, probably not the sharpest pair of scissors in the drawer. This happened. This is true. I usually black out their face. You can't see hers. Resolutions Therapeutic Services is on a very kind of interesting and cool street called Wilshire, but it's pretty busy with traffic. I kind of sometimes feel when I'm driving down it like I'm in a video game because people are driving, bikes are flying out of nowhere, there's things in the sky, and then there's pedestrians. Look at where she's looking. Look at the cars. Now, if you do a mirror reverse, the cars are coming here and she's looking this way while she's pushing a baby. The baby's like, ah, 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 and that is like the biggest iPad I've ever seen in my life that the baby's holding up. I don't even know what. She's not even looking at her kid as cars are coming. People, and we've all seen it. We've all seen people running and crossing the street while they're looking down at their phones. Crazy. So stop looking at your phone. Look around you. It's a beautiful day out today. These two ladies, that's the ocean, that's the Pacific Ocean, for those of you who don't know. It's blocked by a bus. I'm super sorry I couldn't get rid of the bus because it sat there. These two women were two friends. I watched them. I was sitting here. They walked in, they kissed each other and said, oh my God, I haven't seen each other so long. It's so good to see you. How are you? I want to hear everything. Oh, God. Hug. They took a selfie. They both posted it, and they sat for the entire meal on their phones. I watched this. I sat there and watched it. I took this photo. They did not talk to each other. They maybe looked up and said, maybe they were texting each other across the table. I never thought of that. I'll have to revisit that. And then at the end, they hugged themselves. We got to do this again sometime. What? Sit in absent presence? And I'm going to talk about absent presence because it is one of the big problems that I see happening with all of us. That's just a little thing to keep you in the room. Absent presence. What is that? What's he talking about? That sounds like a paradox. Absent present. This was cool. So IKEA 2 Christmases ago said, we really hear you that you're spilling things on your phone during the meal, and that's super inconvenient. So we got to come up with a product so we protect your phone. So forget napkins. Clearly napkins have gone the way of everything else. We are going to present a little pocket where you can put your phone and protect it so you don't spill the cranberries on the phone and have to put it in some rice. Thank you. And then there's this. So when I was a little boy, we used to have a phone on the wall, and it had a cord, and we just answered it. And sometimes it was kind of like variable rewards because you never knew who was on the other end of the phone. There was no caller ID. And then I would answer the phone, or we'd just pick it up. And we did have a rule: you couldn't answer the phone during dinner, which was really stressful as I think about it, because the phone would just ring during dinner. We'd all kind of stop. So it's not any different. We'd all look at it. My mom would be like, "Don't you do it?" And we'd sit, and the phone would just ring and ring. And I kind of remember now that everyone would stop eating until the phone stopped ringing. And we didn't have answering machines back then because it was a long time ago. And then, but you never knew, and you'd answer the phone, and sometimes it'd be, hey, how are you? Can I borrow some sugar? And sometimes it would be a guy from Vegas telling me he was going to break my dad's legs if he didn't pay his bill. That was really nice for an 8-year-old, but that's my story, and I take it to my sponsor. But this, we don't know. Now, so what's really weird is that I don't really have a problem answering a phone, except I don't know when. Suddenly now, if someone calls me and their name doesn't come up, I panic. Why are they calling? What is it? Who is that person? Who is that? And it just happened organically. Like, I didn't ask for it. I don't know when this happened. That unknown caller. Now it's passive aggressive. Like, you're calling me. Why don't you want to know? That's shady. Why don't you want me to know who you are? But I still, when someone calls and the number and the name doesn't come up, these are the things that cause anxiety that are new, that I'm trying to tell you guys, look out for, because I see something that says unknown caller and I panic and I stop and and then I wait, can't answer. And then I do this thing where I call it, and this is mine, I call it fear of unknown callers. And the acronym, don't say it out loud, we are live streaming. I look at the phone and kind of that's what I say, I go, who are you? Why are you calling me? Why don't I have your number in my phone, and why are you blocking it? It's so passive aggressive, but I need to know who you are. And so the world stops, and I wait and wait and wait and wait and wait for the message so I can immediately check my voicemail to find out who the unknown caller was and what they wanted. And then they don't leave a message. And I'm like, what? Who were you? Ellipses, 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 ellipses. It's a plot. An ex-girlfriend set me up. She just has someone calling and ellipsing me, and I don't know who it is. And again, I get dysregulated. These are new phenomenon. Why do we get dysregulated? Because the unknown caller didn't leave a message. I don't know who they are. So there's some good stuff, great stuff. So these are all things, and if you want to look later, because it's a lot, you can look on this. They're going to put this up somewhere, and you can go through all of these things. Or you can call me and ask me, but there's some good things. So I want to show you some good things. This one's really cool. I'm going to talk about later. This is for cyberbullying, and that little eye icon, the ICU, is a really cool thing that kids developed. When someone's being cyberbullied, you go and you put in the eye, and you tell the people who are on the thread, we see you. And it's a really cool thing, and we'll talk about that a little later. Whoops, the bad. How's it going, Dad? Really enjoying that quality time with the kids. Look. The kid's just drinking. The dad is on the phone. Secret texting code your kids could be using. Make sure you get this slide later. I really loved that one. This was a thing that they did with Snapchat where it will tell everyone where your children are at any given time. That was a really good idea, Snapchat. Oh, wow, Find a Friend became like every predator can find my kid anywhere. Oh, the iPhone decoy apps. Yeah. So the parents say, my kid's phone is clean, Don. There's nothing on it. I know my kid's a good kid, and I've already gone through their phone, and there's nothing there. And I say, really? And I've already warned the kids because I don't trick kids. I empower children. And when I work with them, I tell them, your parents are going to come in here. We're going to have to talk about your phone. I'm just giving you homes. Divest, get rid of everything you've got in that phone behind the, anyone know? Anyone know the dummy little thing they like to put it behind, the little app? It's on the phone. Yeah, the calculator, because that's the one the parents are never going to check. So I say to the kid, get rid of it, because if you don't, I want to empower you. I want you to get rid of it before your parents come here, because we're going to be talking about your phone, and I got to show them things. The kid thinks I'm bluffing. The kid shouldn't think I bluff because I don't. So then the parents come in, and I say, okay, and the mom's like, my kid's phone is clean. I'm like, really? Is it? And I said, Jim, give them on the phone. And Jimmy's like, I'm like, Jimmy, we talked about this. I warned you. Give her the phone. And the mom's like, give me the phone. I know your phone's good. You're a good kid. Jimmy hands her the phone. I say, hit the calculator icon app. She's like, what is that? It's a map. She goes, oh, my God. And it's the portal to all of the stuff that's hidden behind the fake app. So the decoy app's on the phone. The kid will be like, look, Mom, my phone's great. And behind all of those things. And I always feel like if on any given day I'm 17 steps behind these kids, I am winning. 17 is my number. I am winning. So I try to keep ahead of it, but it's the thing where the parents say, I'm friends with my kid on Insta. I'm like, yeah, but you're not friends with them on their Finsta. What's a Finsta? That's the real Instagram. It's called a Finsta. It's your fake Instagram. They're like, what is it? Well, why don't you tell her? And then this is the ugly. This is the big thing I'm researching or trying to research right now because it is so dark and it is so ugly. And what happens, and we'll talk about it later, is going on right now that we don't know is, I think, what's causing a lot of the dysregulation in the kids. So this is what cyberbullying is. Now, why is it maybe more egregious? See, I may have been a rather portly teenager or child. And I may have been beat up or bullied a little bit when I was in middle school. And I would try to run away from the boys who did this, and they would just chase me, and they would, do whatever. But the thing about it was that I just knew that my shame was just between me and these three knuckleheads who we knew what was going on, and I tried to avoid them. And I very rarely was able to, and it happened behind the school and whatever, and they'd give me a hard time, and I went home. And I didn't think that anybody really knew. There was no perception. Sidebar, those three, especially guys, who really were a part of like my nemesis and the bane of my existence, Okay, I may have checked social media and I may have found out their lives suck. And they zenith in middle school and their lives are terrible. And I really hope they see mine because I am killing it in LA. So I really hope that John Landwin, hi John, and I hope those guys really can see what's going on with me now. So I have to do a confession that I may have checked their lives and their lives are really terrible. And I can't say that I'm really upset about it. Hey guys, and what's really weird is one of them, this guy named Tim, tried to Facebook friend me. I'm like, what? Yeah, you saw my life. It's cool, isn't it? Yours sucks. How was middle school? I don't remember. So this is that I thing. But this is really rough. And so why is it a little different? Because like that thing that happened to me when I was younger, again, the perception, I just thought that nobody really knew. The problem is whether it's real or perceived with the kids now is that they are perceiving when they're cyberbullied that everybody sees it. That is world. So they're seeing, and their perception is that when they get bullied or when they get left out of something, that all of their friends see it, and that's really hard. And they're sitting in their rooms when they get cyberbullied all by themselves, and suddenly they get ambushed and they're alone and they can't really talk to anyone about it, but they just believe that everybody saw it, and that's why we're seeing a lot of problems, I believe, with self-harm and suicide. It's really, really scary. So I'm sure you've read through this slide. Or if not, download it. So, being a victim of cyberbullying is routinely associated. Anyone who works with kids knows this. We've seen this. We've heard this. And the psychopathology that we might see in the future. See, all of this stuff is what I'm concerned about the future. What is this impacting doing? So this is the big thing that anyone who works with kids or even adults, we're just as guilty. Because there's something called the online disinhibition effect. And what it means is that I'm more likely to say and do things online, closeted and secreted or protected behind the veil of mediated communication, than I would say face-to-face. Now, some of this is great because I work with kids who are able to play out a lot of things, that, sexuality issues. Maybe they can find out, am I an addict, am I not? Yeah, you probably are, because people who aren't really don't look and take the 20 questions. Spoiler alert, you fail the first one, you can stop. Go to treatment. They didn't tell me that. I'm like, 20 questions. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I got like 17. I must be good. Oh, the first, okay. But they can play out roles, and there's a lot of things they can do with avatars and in gaming that's good, where they can explore things, a lot of gender identity stuff. But the other part of it is very, very dark. Okay, so that's really not something that is groovy for our future. Excuse me. And right here again, personally, I put that in there, Dr. Shackelford. I didn't say it was an absolute. I said it personally. It's just an opinion. It's a hypothesis. Remember that? What do you mean you didn't read it? No, we throw everything up there. And it's really cool because if you're really super popular, you put, I woke up, 19 million likes. Like someone else who's maybe not as popular wrote, I solved world hunger. Nothing. And then the other person wrote, I had lunch, 40 million likes. It's like, what? So we play the game because it's currency. Likes are currency now. Social media rules. I'm talking about the rules, not that it rules. Now, rule number 1, do not, this is not what you do, this is true, do not confess to murdering your boyfriend. Hey, so yeah, I did it. I popped a cap and I killed him. Yes, I need likes, I need love. So don't do it. She put it up there that she killed him. Wow. I'm going to be an Insta star. So there's also characters, and I'm not going to go through all of these. But there's also what's so weird about this is, the social mediaites are different than the gamers and they're different than the online porn, which is destroying, in my opinion, a generation and more about sexual. But even within it, there's so many subgroups. And so that's why it's so hard, because looking at all the different personality types of how we engage is varying. But within social media, so there's also different kinds of ways we engage. And these are the names of, informer, got to fix that, sorry, pull it back. I was like, that's off. That's because I left in the Americans, sorry. I added that for you guys. So I don't know which one you are. But you can probably figure out from the names, I'm a ranter and I'm proud of it. So that's also weird because our engagement within even social media falls under a lot of different categories of how we engage. Here's the only rule. It's all about the likes, right? Likes, shares, hearts, these are the currency of the kids. This is what it's about. They need as much as possible. A girl really will take, and it's not just the girls, but so I'm not trying to be misogynistic or try to just be gender that way, but it's really the studies show that teenage girls will post, and I've checked it with my own, 50 to 75 selfies they will take before they post the one that they choose, just for one little moment. And if it doesn't get a certain amount of likes within 12 to 16 minutes, they will take it down and their depression skyrockets. Now, what they're not realizing is that they have to assume that their friends or whoever it is are all on during that 12 minutes. But wait, they're always on it, so I guess that's not a problem. These are examples. I blocked out the names of some. When I talk about good digital citizenship, these are all true. These are all people who I am friends with on social media. A lot of it I do it because it's research. He said, wow, tell me your honest opinion. Me, Rule, I can't reply. What are you asking for there? Why? Again, remember when I said, why do we post it? Oh my word. Now, I don't know if anyone knows who this is. This was Sally Field when she got her second Oscar in 1985, and she said the infamous holding the Oscar because the first one, I guess, wasn't good enough for Sister Betrayal, but the second one, Flying Nun says, you like me, you really like me, and we all went, we used to. That was weird and awkward, Sally. Okay. So that's what it looked like in 1985. Look at the back of that computer. Remember those white ones? Again, remember, this has only been around for like 15 years, 20 years. Remember those big white computers? Remember this? Dial up. Remember that? Like, Now, 2018, don't worry. If people don't, you can just buy your followers. And I always joke about this when I tell this, like, if I'd known this, this is what I would have gotten my kids for the holidays. Hey, Daddy got you 50,000 Insta followers. Daddy, you're so cool. We love you. I have 50,000 followers. I bought them through Amazon. Okay, so Mac, this was true. Half the world's not enough. Zuckerberg says, I am going to get every plant. I'm going to get them all, every human. Well, he might. Wow, look at this kid's face. Look at the juxtaposition of this. These kids are in, this state of dress. He's got that. Look at the distended bellies. These kids, that's not because they just spent 3 days at the Sizzler all-you-can-eat buffet. These kids are hungry. That is starvation. And what's so cool about it is they are so distracted. Lunch is just strolling behind them. He's like, they're on their iPad. They're not even going to see me. Hey, kids. Hey. Hi. Yeah, hi. Meat is right here, but you're not even seeing me. That's, wow. And it's okay because there's a lot of things that are happening, and I know these people are doing this really cool thing in Africa where they're setting up Wi-Fi towers and giving people who are fishermen and who sell trades, they're getting them cell phones and access to the market price because they were being taken advantage of. So this really cool charity organization in Africa that hooked up people so they can make sure that the tradespeople coming through aren't taking advantage of the prices. So that's good, but I don't know how this kid with an iPad, I don't know. Oh, this was so sweet of them. I really like this for this little thank you I gave to. I feel super special that I'm one of 2 billion. It's awesome. Thank you. Again, and I just wanted to remind you because this is kind of my thesis. What is your real motive? And only you know that when you're sitting there, are you trying to help make people like you? Are you trying to cover up? Are you trying to do reciprocal likes? Are you trying to do a business thing where you just are trying to do it for your brand? Or is it authentic? Anybody who's you're liking, and do you really know when their birthday is if Facebook doesn't tell you? Because if you really don't know, and I know Rez has heard me say this so many times, my ideas of friendship are different, but if someone's my close friend, I know when their birthday is. I don't need Facebook to tell me. And then, why are you posting stuff? These are all real. This is the fun part of the show. Okay, gird yourselves, people. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy section. Now, this one's hard, and I added this because in America, we don't spell license that way. It's anyone? Licens. But here you spell it this way. So here's my little disclaimer for you people in the UK, because I'm culturally sensitive and I'm all good with it, because it didn't make sense. The people in the Brits would be like, what's wrong with that? Besides the fact, I don't even know what that word is. But in America, when I said spelling, and who even what do you want response? Dude, the debauchery on the road is real. Where do drivers get their licenses? And when it's spelled wrong in America, I say, probably the same place you learned how to spell. But here, no, what do you want? So that thing I said, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? I'm done. And this means that we've got to find Beth, because we don't know what that means, and she has scared us all. And Beth clearly doesn't have anybody she can call. She's putting out to the world. She's done. We don't know what it means. That's just like a teaser. Deb, what happened? Something bad happened. Was it a zombie apocalypse? It's straight to the head, Deb, straight to the head. What happened? Crazy. Whoops. I don't know. You have 5. You got 5, dude. 5. Although the one that's sad could be he's sad. He's your friend. Okay, well, he's just being honest. Hey, I'm just messing with you guys. I don't know. I got nothing else to do. Don't go outside and get some of that good vitamin D. Don't go get any exercise. Just get up on Facebook. And that's what I'm trying to teach. So, here's some things. Okay, I know you're all dying to pull out your phones. Don't worry, please. If you want copies of these, you don't have to take a picture of it, because this is usually the section where people like run up with their, start taking pictures. I'm like, no, I'll give it to you. So here's basically my things that we've come up with. And one of the things, because I got really lucky, and it was really nice of them, it really was, that APA, the American Psychological Association, created this committee called Device Management, and they asked me if I wanted to chair it. And I did it for a year, but I'm really busy right now. So the woman who's writing the book with me, who's really an amazing publisher, very, very, very smart, I asked her this year to co-chair, because we're going to be writing, and we have been working on the recommendations for the American Psychological Association Fellowship and members. We're writing the guidelines, because you have to be super careful. And we don't realize as clinicians, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, some of the things we post. As human beings, we don't, but some of us have to be even extra careful, and it's important. And we've seen some things that are really bad because we haven't been. So that's that. But you can look at our little suggestions for what practicing good digital citizenship. And now please turn your smartphones to Kardashian mode as we enter the terrifying world of FOMO versus JOMO. FOMO means what, people? Fear of missing out. We all know what that is, I think. What is JOMO? Joy of missing out. And people are like, how would you joy of missing out? I know it's being live streamed, but maybe there's, I love my family. And one of the things I love about social media is I get to be engaged with my friends. And I have friends all over the world. And my family's back east. And I get to see the pictures of their kids and the things they do. And I feel super close with them. But then, maybe I have a little bit of JOMO when I see the family reunion that I live in LA. Sorry, I couldn't make it, because they all, are just drunk the whole time, and I don't drink. So I really have a little FOMO about not having to be at the family reunion. So that's JOMO. And this is the difference between, because they really came up with this FOMO thing. So this is what a millennial is, the first digital natives. And there are 82 to 2004 iGens. iGens are the new ones. These are the latest ones. They're our largest living generation. They just last year became our largest living generation. They're overexposed and underdeveloped, in my opinion. 1/3 in the UK admit they do not have a good balance between screen time and other activities. Self-esteem is gauged by likes. They don't understand privacy. They crave exposure. They just want everything out there. They're all going to become an Insta star. They all want a YouTube channel. They all want us to know everything that goes on with them. But they don't want to talk to people. And their voicemails, I don't know in the UK, I couldn't find this stat, but in the US, their voicemails are always full. They do that on purpose. They don't want to listen to voicemails. People do it also where, like, don't even bother leaving a voicemail, because I can't even tell you how many times I've left a voicemail and then the person calls me back and they're asking me something and I say, you didn't even listen to the voicemail, did you? No, I didn't have the time. I couldn't be bothered to listen to your voice. I'm just calling you right back. So nobody's even listening to voicemails anymore, and the kids leave them full. 25% of UK under 3s and 37% of 3 to 5-year-olds have their own media device already. Don't do it. Do not expose them. Creative play, every study shows, is really important for imagination, for development of their minds, for problem solving. Make them build a fort in the living room. Take them outside and show them a duck. But creative play and letting kids play together has been shown that it's really, really important to the development of a kid and later problem solving. Many UK parents find it easier to get their kids to do homework, get to bed or have a bath, and turn off their phones, laptops, and TVs. Their homework? And a University of Sheffield study highlights that spending an hour a day on social media reduces the probability of a child being happy by 14%. So what does 2 hours do? What does 3 hours do? Again, it doesn't take a mathematician to say, wait. But we all see it. The stuff I'm telling you, you're all nodding your heads. It's all good because you get it. And we wonder why we don't trust them. Again, the teen hookup sites, I did that twice because people ask a lot about that. And I just want to make sure, in case you missed it the first time, and I put it in the center, because these teenagers are doing things online that are really scary. And you don't know the age of the people who are doing it with them, because you can make up any age online. And where I'm finding a lot of the kids are getting in trouble where they're getting an engagement with people much older than them. I have a client whose parents allowed him to play World of Warcraft at 8 years old. He was playing World of Warcraft with people and kids who were 25, 26. He wasn't telling them he was 8. Well, and this is what we thank them for, because 2,000 years, 3,000 years we are perfecting the written language. And in this country, really, Shakespeare, Chaucer, Oscar Wilde, we were wrong. That written language thing we've been trying to perfect for all these years. Millennials, thank you. Thank you for proving to us that we really should have just stopped with, the Egyptians had it right. We should have stopped with hieroglyphics. So we wasted all of this time perfecting the language of all countries, not just English. And you know what's really, really cool about it is that they did point out to us that we all have different languages, but we could all be just brought together in a universal language of emojis. And I want to heal the world with that. So I want everyone to stop writing and just start studying emojis. Because then we will all be one in our language. So the digital immigrants be like, this is what I read my kids. Good night, moon. My kids heard that. There's an A, good night, iPad. But not really. They got that iPad under the covers. Good night, Mom. Okay, so here's the texting. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Anyone? This is American Drake. Right, so he's got a song, soon as you see the text, reply me, blah, blah. Judith is going, yeah, I got that downloaded on my SoundCloud. He's like, that's my jam. So texting. Adolescents in the UK send an average of 60 up to 100. And again, anyone who knows anything about stats knows you have to kind of compensate for the deviation of it, so it's always higher. Digital natives, a lot of digital natives prefer to communicate via texting. Now, texting is great. It's really, I'm not trying to get down on texting. It's really great for like communication. I got to be there. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be this. But when you start getting into these long things, or you text instead of picking up the phone and hearing someone's voice, I am not down with that. I also think that without facial cues, without sound cues, even when you're on the phone, without tonal cues or cadence, things can get a little misconstrued sometimes, and people can get a little hurt because they read something wrong. Because I did an exercise, and I do it with the kids as part of my program, where I just say, I give them a few sentences, and I say, okay, so if you saw this read, for example, I really like you, and you just saw it as a text, what does it mean? Does it mean I really like you? Or I really like you? Or could it be sarcastic? I mean, so there's different things, and I give them a whole list of things to prove to them that texting can be a little difficult, because the other end, you might never know what they really perceived, and you might not have meant that. What I really love, and it does, every time we hear that little alert, oh, someone's thinking of me. Someone's thinking of me. Someone's thinking of me. Great. And I get a little dopamine, and I read it, and I hate you. I'm like, oh. Or I get text, and I hear text, dot, 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 dot. What? So the texting also, all these alerts, please turn them off. Because anyone who's been sitting there and you have all these alerts and all these push notifications, and you hear the buzz, and you hear the buzz, and you feel, it causes anxiety. So that's one of the things that I tell people to manage it. You don't need to answer it, because a text to me is just like a phone call. It's just they were too lazy to pick up the phone. They didn't want to hear my voice. They wanted to impart information. So a text is not a 911 emergency. A text is a phone call. And I'm in session a lot and in groups, so a lot of times I cannot reply to your text. And don't start doing the thing where if I don't reply to your text, you start sending question marks. I'm not going to respond. And then I get the text, are you dead? Yes, I am dead. Please stop texting me. But a text is really like a phone call. And so you don't need to respond right away unless it's your wife. And then you do. Because then she's like, why didn't you? Where were you? Gamers, I'm not going to go into a big thing. That's the most popular game here, I heard. We have some other ones in the States, but Grand Theft Auto! The UK version, yeah, baby, that's the 69, but yeah, Austin Powers Grand Theft Auto. So games are different. Now, I'm going to ask the room, and this is the participation, and I know I didn't tell you to study, so we'll just see. If you guys had to talk about gamers, and the people who've heard me do this, no cheating. So what do you guys think? If you had to profile a gamer, the prototype, most significant, largest population of gamers, first I want gender. Male. Age, give me a range. 25. I got 25, 25, 25. I got Bruce, what? 35. Anyone else? Anyone lower? 13. I got 13 from the lady with the glasses. What up? 8 years old. Lady in the blue's got 8. 12. I got 12. All right, so somewhere between 12 and 35 male. Okay, anyone who's heard me and say this, Reza, what is the largest group of gamers? Women. How old?
Over 50.
Over 40. 30.
35. Women 35 and older, hi Lauren, are the most prolific gamers. That's crazy, he's wrong, I don't believe him. Okay, they're the silent gamers. I'm just going to say Candy Crush, Words with Friends, Build Me a Farm in Farmville, Bejeweled, Angela Lansbury, Murder, She Wrote, Solve the Mystery. Gamers are women, 35 and older. If you don't believe me, just leave here, get on your phone, and check it. Women are, I don't care, because I know I'm right. Okay, so go ahead, challenge me. I'm a doctor, okay? Women, You don't know they're doing it. They're sitting there next to you. They're sitting they're sitting in the soccer stands. They're sitting and they're playing Words with Friends and they're playing. In fact, when in the States, when Candy Crush ran out of levels last year, women lost their minds. Candy Crush in like 24 hours created like 400 new levels. Women, and they're sitting in bed, and men are complaining because men are saying that my wife is in bed at night and she's on social media, but she's also playing games, and maybe we're not really getting close, and then he leaves and goes in the other room and maybe does his own thing. Those of you who laughed, okay, I'm not saying, oh, he laughed again. We'll talk later. Still feeling that phantom vibration? I know you're going to want to take a picture of this. I'm going to let you have it. Buy my book when it comes out because this is stuff in there. So this is some of the strategies. There's a lot, but these are basic. Do not let your kids take it in the bedroom. Put it in a charging station that's kind of fun, somewhere where they can't get it. And in the morning, you give it to them after they've had a juice or some breakfast. They don't need it at night. Put yours theirs too. So at night, and do not let your kids take the games or the devices in their rooms. You wonder why they're on it all night. There's nothing good that can happen on social media after 10 o'clock at night, probably earlier. But they don't need it, and ask them why they need it. They say to me, because it's my alarm clock. And I say, good, I love that. That's the only reason you need your phone next to your bed. You're not even supposed to have it next to your bed. Back in the day, we all had cell phones next to our ears. And then suddenly, like 5 years later, said, oh, you know, we forgot to tell you. Don't put the cell phone next to your ear. Get a Bluetooth. Oh, thanks for telling me. You're not supposed to have it. We won't know for a very long time what the biological effects are. We won't know probably for a couple generations, but right now, 19,000 texts, 40,000 videos, some porn, some all kinds of videos and movies and streamings and things are flying through us. And they say, oh, it's not a problem. We don't know. They don't know that, and maybe it's not. But there's so much data flying through us all the time. Do not leave it. Every study says do not leave it next to your bed at night. You'll also hear those texts and those beeps all night long, and it will keep waking you up. You'll also try to wake up. And those blue lights, they do affect the melatonin. Even if you get the screens and you get the filters, don't believe it. Get the phone out of the room. And then they say, well, but it's my alarm clock. And I say, oh, is that really it? Yeah. And I said to everybody, great. I will buy you whatever alarm clock you want. I will pay for it. That's my gift to you if you agree. And I have. And I bought the kids alarm clocks. And they don't last very long. And then they have the phone in there. But I say, I'll call your bluff. If it's really the alarm clock, I will buy you any clock. I don't care how much it is. Go for it. As long as it's just an alarm clock, I'll buy you an alarm clock. Just read it. This is a whole presentation, and I have to be very careful about it. So I'm just going to let you just read through it, but if I didn't include it, it would be a little bit of like malpractice maybe in a weird way, because it is the most growing, most difficult, and real big problem I see coming. I'm also doing some research on this. The problem is I've tried, and this is in the States, I've tried about 3 or 4 times, I've tried to write grant proposals, not Don Grant, but other grant proposals. I've been trying to get research. My partner and I have been trying to get people to fund some research. We want to do this study we wrote up, and we can't get anyone to fund it. So people are scared of it, but they shouldn't be, because we really need to get ahead of this, because the kids are being exposed to it so early. And anyone who's a parent, anyone who works with kids, anyone who loves a kid, make sure you go on, check all their filters, check all their... They'll still see it with their friends. But do not be neglectful in checking your own stuff at your house, because your kids could stumble upon things, and it's really, really gonna, this is gonna be something I think I'm predicting in the next 10 years is gonna be what really destroyed relationships, because the kids are exposed way too early, and they want the girls to go 50 shades of gray at 15 years old, because they've already been so desensitized. That's all I'll say. It's coming. People, whenever I'm doing this, always say, yeah, we believe you're cool, maybe you're right. And they're always kind of, sometimes I feel like I'm at an 80s headbanger concert where all the audience is going, yeah, 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 yeah. And then I get to this point and I talk about that we are not even going to have cell phones. Everything's migrating on the cell phones, and the next thing is going to be a chip. And they say, we're not going to do that. People never do that. And then last summer in Wisconsin, of all places, and I don't know how familiar you are with Wisconsin, not exactly a bustling metropolis or really known for its forward progression, no offense. You would think this would happen somewhere else, is my point. A small company, offered their employees that they would chip them. And they offered, actually, as an incentive, some chips. And I'll tell you why. Because they said, if you chip yourselves, then it'll be easier. You can swipe in and out of work, and you won't have to do a time card, but we'll let you also swipe the vending machines and get chips. 50% of the employees did it the first day, and the rest of them did it very quickly afterwards, and that's in Wisconsin. And these kids don't care, and with kids, we're teaching them slowly how to become more away from human contact and different things. They will not even think twice, because it'll be easier for them, and they're going to keep breaking their phones and losing their phones. One of the things I'm going to just give you a sidebar, anybody who's got their phone and they keep all their credit cards and all their stuff because it's convenient in the back, please don't. Because if you lose your phone, they have your phone, your contacts, all your credit cards, your ID. I know it's really hard because you are just carrying a phone. But these things that they have, the little things on the back where you can keep everything in it, just think about it. Probably not the best way, because if you lose it, someone has all of your life. But the phones are going to be inconvenient for the kids. So when they say, well, you don't have to carry on a phone, you can chip yourself, put it on a smart table, it will light up, you'll have your computer, they're going to do it. Everything you've seen in movies of the movies about the future, if you think back, like people thought it was crazy, Dick Tracy talking into a watch. Anyone seen an Apple Watch? I don't know. This is for you guys. And just read it. As clinicians and educators, everyone should be careful, but we need to be super careful because, doctors didn't used to put their addresses. In magazines in their waiting rooms, they would cut out the address. And as clinicians and educators and people who work with maybe populations that are compromised, we are putting everything out on social media. And don't think because you have it blocked, they can't get it. They will. And if you don't think if you work with kids or you work with clients, they're not looking you up, they are. They are researching and looking you up. And even if your stuff is blocked, they will find it. But I want you to really think about some of the populations. We have a psychiatrist who works with us at Resolutions. He does some work in the prisons. And I had to pull him aside and say, I saw some pictures that you put up, and I'm not trying to be a brat, but I really think you should rethink that, because if you upset someone in the prison and you don't give them the meds they want and they get mad at you and maybe they're not really cool and they are paroled and they see where your kids are, where your wife is, what kind of car you drive, you might want to think about that. And he went, whoa. So you really might want to think about what you're putting out there. And we all work with maybe people who are not well, but especially people who work with some of the antisocial, or someone who's a little dangerous, or someone who's a borderline, some of these, and they know everything about you, and you tell them when you're on vacation. I love the people who, I've seen these where they talk about how they're on vacation for 3 weeks and they're, my house got robbed. How did they know? Oh, because you told them you're out of the country for 3 weeks and they know where you live. So just be really careful, you guys. Just think about what you put up there. Think about who we work with. Think about what could go wrong. So just be really, really, really careful about it. And then, we've all seen these. We've seen situations where there's someone that, is a psychiatrist or a therapist or someone. And I really respect you, Carl. But think about it, because if you put up a political ideology, and this happened to a friend of mine who was a teacher, she was very, very vociferous about her feelings in the United States about a certain election, and then the principal was getting calls saying that he didn't want her, that the parents didn't want her teaching their kids. Yeah. And that's just one example. So think about what you're posting, especially if you represent not just yourself, but if you represent a company. And you start getting all personal and you start oversharing. And please, this is my pet peeve. Really, I do. We have a teacher. My kids both had her. Her spelling is outrageous. We're like, oh my God, if we had seen this before, we would have not let her teach our kids. And she was a great teacher. But she puts out there, she's a teacher and her spelling's always off. Check it. But these are the things also that this is part of what we're doing for our APA committee. These are some of the things. This is part of the project we're working on for the recommendation for our membership. These are the things. Some of the things we came up with. Okay, we're running out of time. These are some strategies as well. This is the speed round. I knew it was a lot of information. Again, I put it up here because I knew that all of this stuff is going to be available to those of you cool enough who came to this. So you can get this later. I have no problem with you looking at it. I wanted to include it so that if any of you are interested, you don't have to write it down. I didn't want you taking pictures, but I wanted to have it, and then later you can look up this PowerPoint or ask Sam or somebody, and you can have this for fun and for free. This is some of the strategies that are also in my book and also that we're doing for the committee. But don't worry about it now because I just included it so you can have it later. Again, this is the basics. Instead of quantity, because there have been many studies that have demonstrated that there's a positive correlation between, a positive reverse correlation between your self-esteem and your prolificity of postings. Meaning, in layman's terms, studies have shown the more you post on social media, the lower your self-esteem. And then when you don't get the responses back because people are really tired of too much saturation, then you set it up that they won't respond, you won't get the likes, and your self-esteem drops. But you can look this up. Every study is coming back that the more you post, lower self-esteem. And it feeds itself. And then content and connections. The goal is to create your own deliberate, authentic, and positive digital diary. Everything is archived forever, long in 10 billion years, or forbid not sooner. When we're gone, this stuff will still be out there. Planets will be receiving this. This digital stuff will live on. Even if you erase it or you delete it, you think you did, it's still there. And it's still accessible and discoverable. So what you're creating a digital scrapbook of your life, and you really might not want to post that Girls Gone Wild in Cabo 1999 and then try to get a job in a rehab and say, no, I'm sober. Oh, wait, but you had a reunion. Girls Gone Wild, Cabo 1999 last year, and what are these belly shots? You're sober how long? Yeah, I had that with someone I hired when I ran a residential program. She was telling me she was sober, and I looked up her social media, and I was like, you're doing Jell-O shots last year. Oh, that doesn't count. I really had a problem with heroin. I don't have a problem with alcohol. Yeah, well, you're not being hired. This is mine. Healthy device management, good digital. I just came up with these. Investigate for parents, educators, clinicians, and friends with your kids. Investigate what they're using, how they're using it. Educate them on good digital citizenship and how not to be disrupted by others. Participate and talk to them about it. Communicate with them if you see something's wrong and talk to them about how to use their engagement, why you're setting limits, why you're setting boundaries. Moderate it. Your kids, you don't have to be their friend. They'll scream and yell. Take it away, put limits, and moderate their use. Homework, then maybe some screen time. Do not barter screen time, by the way. Do not tell a kid if he does this, he gets 2 hours of screen time. It is not correct. Appreciate them and validate them. They're looking for validation anyway. They should get it from their parents, educators, and teachers. Oh! This is just because I want to show I'm legit. Hi, Grandma. She doesn't even know she's going to be a silver swiper later this year. She just hasn't caught on yet. This was Grandma's last time, really, as a member of society before she got her smartphone and joined in. This is so cool. Oh, snap, and she's right back there. She has given me permission to use this. I may use it for the back of my book. What is up? She's like, really? Whoa, and she absolutely has given me permission to use this. That says it all. We are all guilty. It's not just Elena. We are all guilty. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you. I want to thank iCAAD. I want to thank Sam, Matt, David, Melissa, and everyone else who I did meet. These were just the people I work with. My everything team at Resolutions Teen Center, of course, my partner in unprosecutable crimes, Rezan Abavi. She is my co-writer on my book, Luna, and that's my mentor. So I always want to thank everybody because my mother hopefully raised me properly. Thank you very much.